All right, everybody, what is going on? Welcome back to another fantasy football video. Today, we're going to go over exactly what you should be doing if you have round one, pick number one in your fantasy football draft in this upcoming season. We're going to be going over a best ball draft that I did where I had the number one pick. It's a 12-man league. I think the buy-in for this was $10, and the max prize that you can win after the season's over is $400 grand for first place, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't think my team is too bad. I want you guys to let me know what you think down in the comment section below. I think it's a pretty balanced team overall. But without further ado, let's just get into it. First pick every fantasy football draft this year that I've seen. I think this is half PPR, by the way. Justin Jefferson is the number one pick. It's a consensus by far. After that, we got Jamar Chase going off the board, Christian McCaffrey, Travis Kelce at 4 is a bit early, but you know, I'm not going to hate on anybody for taking the best tight end in the league by any means. Tyreek Hill goes off at 5, Cooper Kupp at 6, Bijan at 7, Eckler at 8. I like what this guy's thinking here with Bijan going at 7. Take the risk. I mean, hell, if Bijan pops off, he's the number one running back, then that's a great selection by that guy. AJ Brown goes off at 9, Diggs at 10, CD at 11. I like CD Lamb a lot this upcoming season. I also like Amon-Ra St. Brown here at 12, Garrett Wilson at 13, Nick Chubb at 14, Olave, Adams, Waddle, Barkley, Derrick Henry in the second round. Not the biggest fan of Derrick Henry in best ball leagues, but you know, if you want to go for that elite running back, then if he's still there, might as well take him. I personally would have taken Tony Pollard, though, over Derrick Henry if it fell to me. Not my team, though. It's Profit Farmer G's team. So Patrick Mahomes goes after that, and then Devonta Smith. So Patrick Mahomes is off the board at this point. Pick number 23 is Jalen Hurts. So Patrick Mahomes off the board. Jalen Hurts is off the board. So I'm thinking to myself, I might as well take the last elite, truly elite quarterback, in my opinion, one of the top 3 in Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, and Patrick Mahomes. So I'll take Josh Allen. I got Justin Jefferson, Josh Allen. Then I get to pick again. So this is where I could have went one or two ways, right? I could have selected Jonathan Taylor. At this point, he was still on the board. I'm not really too positive if he's going to, you know, what is going on with that cold situation. I'm not entirely comfortable with that. So I didn't go with Jonathan Taylor here. Looking back in hindsight, I might have went with JT in this situation, but regardless, we didn't. And then after that, I also like Ramondre Stevenson, but that was a little bit of a reach at this point. And this is a best ball league with 3 wide receivers starting. So I took Calvin Ridley in this spot. I've been seeing him go early round 3 in best ball to late round 3 at the latest. It might have been a little bit of a reach, but I really believe in Calvin Ridley, and I love this Jaguars offense this year, so that's why I went with Calvin Ridley. So far, Justin Jefferson, Josh Allen, and Calvin Ridley. We got 2 solid wide receivers to start it off, and then we got a nice elite quarterback here, which I think is essential, especially in these leagues, to have a really elite quarterback for your team. JT goes off the board right after that. Ramondre, T. Higgins, Mark Andrews. I've been saying this. I said this in the last video. I don't understand why I would not pick Mark Andrews in these best ball leagues. That's just personally me. You got guys going after him. We're going to see here. Deebo Samuel at 30, DK Metcalf, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper. I'd probably rather have all those guys over Mark Andrews. Jahmyr Gibbs, I'd rather have over Mark Andrews, but enough of the Mark Andrews talk here. Jahmyr Gibbs goes off at 34, Josh Jacobs at 35, Lamar Jackson at 36, Breece Hall at 37, Jerry Jeudy, Hopkins, TJ Hawkinson, Mike Williams, DJ Moore, Christian Watson, Drake London, Travis Etienne. Love the pick right there. Terry McLaurin, Joe Mixon, and then the best running backs on the board at the time of our 4th selection here at pick number 48 was Najee Harris and Aaron Jones. I decided to go with it instead of picking more wide receivers. The wide receivers on the board at the time, I wasn't the biggest fans of in the world. Not like they're bad wide receivers or anything. I just thought I could wait a little longer and get a little bit better of value, if that makes sense. So at the time when I picked Najee Harris, and then right after that I would pick Aaron Jones, the wide receivers on the board were Christian Kirk, Brandon Ayuk, Deontay Johnson, and I just figured I'll just wait a couple more rounds to pick another wide receiver on the back end. So that's exactly what we did. Joe Burrow goes right after Aaron Jones, then Christian Kirk, Brandon Ayuk, Justin Fields, George Kittle, Deontay Johnson, Justin Herbert, Miles Sanders, Alexander Madison, Kenneth Walker, J.K. Dobbins, Chris Godwin, Marquise Brown, Deshaun Watson, Mike Evans, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Cam Akers, Trevor Lawrence, Tyler Lockett, Jordan Addison, Kyle Pitts, Dallas Goedert. So at the moment, We don't have a tight end, but I wasn't going to rush to get a tight end here. I mean, Darren Waller was the next man up on the board, but I had a guy in my sights the entire time. I actually had two guys in my sights the entire time, and both of them, I believe, fell to me. Jahan Dotson, I've been talking nonstop about Dotson. I think he's going to have a pop-off year number 2. Same exact thing with George Pickens, I think. Sam Howell is going to provide clearly more upside for Dotson than last season for the Washington Commanders. And then George Pickens, Kenny Pickett's second year. George Pickens' second year, he's been dominating in practice. Not like the practice footage, made me sway in any certain way or anything, but compared to the other wide receivers that are on the board at this point, I mean, the next man that goes is Michael Pittman. I've told you guys how I feel about Michael Pittman. Not the biggest fan of him for what he did to me last year, but anyways, moving on. Dameon Pierce, Javonte Williams, Darren Waller, James Conner, DeAndre Swift. Love that pick. We just talked about in the last video. DeAndre Swift going as my running back number 1 in the 0 RB strategy video. If you haven't watched that, go watch that. That could be a very profitable strategy in best ball, not gonna lie. Gabe Davis goes off the board, Rashad White, David Montgomery, Quentin Johnston, Brandon Cook, Zay Flowers, Treylon Burks, David Njoku, Pacheco, James Cook, Elijah Moore, Alvin Kamara off the board, Rashad Bateman, Sky Moore, Michael Thomas, Kadarius Toney. And then we're going to take our tight end in this league, Evan Ingram. Like I said, I am all in on this Jags offense, so I might as well take Evan Ingram there. I also like Pat Freiermuth. He was also on the board, but I decided to go with Ingram here. And then I decided to take Antonio Gibson. They've been promising that Gibson was going to get a workhorse running back role for the past, I don't know how many seasons. They are saying again that he's going to be more involved in the passing game, taking away the role that J.D. McKissick had last season. I don't know if I completely believe that, but I'll take the risk, I guess, on Antonio Gibson right here because the people that were left, I mean, you had A.J. Dillon a couple picks later. First of all, let's go over Cortland Sutton at 98, Rashad Penny at 99, and then there's A.J. Dillon at 100. A.J. Dillon obviously has higher, I don't know if it's higher upside, but I think Antonio Gibson is going to get more playing time on a week-to-week basis than A.J. Dillon does, just because Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, they kind of split carries, whereas Antonio Gibson could take over most of those passing downs. So I took my shot on Gibson. Looking back on things right now, I guess A.J. Dillon might have made a little more sense. So hindsight's 2020. But Tua, Anthony Richardson, Pat Freiermuth, Dalvin Cook, Odell, Jameson Williams, Dak Prescott, Charbonnet, Robinson, Tyler Boyd, Samaje Perine goes off, Kirk Cousins, Allen Lazard, Daniel Jones, Herbert, Achane, Jamal Williams, Geno Smith, Damian Harris. And then at this point, not the best wide receivers in the world left, so I decided to go for 2 number 1 wide receivers. So I took Nico Collins here at pick number 120. I mean, the Texans hopefully can only get better. I mean, I'll take the risk on CJ Stroud playing well and Nico Collins benefiting from this. And then I took Juju. Juju was playing good with the Chiefs last year until he got his head absolutely knocked off that 1 week, had a concussion, and really didn't get back in the same flow of things. Next pick after Juju was Rondale Moore. I actually do like that pick, and I also like Jerick McKinnon selected right here. Jared Goff, Romeo Doubs, Thielen, Jones, Rodgers, Wilson, Dulcich, Mitchell, Mooney, Tank Bigsby, Jacoby Myers, Dalton Kincaid, AJ Osborne, Jalen Bourne, Van Jefferson, Hill, Miller, Dalton Schultz, Rashee Rice, Irv Smith. And then at this point, I decided to take Tyler Algier just for the fact that if Bijan somehow would get hurt in his first season, I hope to God that doesn't happen. I want to see Bijan succeed, and I want to see him for sure be a top 3 running back in the league with how early he's going. God forbid, though, anything happens to him, I'll take Tyler Algier, and he should get a decent amount of work as well because he was a high draft pick for the Falcons either ways. And I took Alec Pierce here just for the sole fact that if Anthony Richardson plays well, Alec Pierce might benefit from this. We won't go back and talk about Michael Pittman Jr. anymore, but Alec Pierce, he played pretty well last year, even with a super old Matt Ryan on the team. And then you had Sam Ehlinger play quarterback for. Moving on, Michael Gallup, Derek Carr, Chark, Scantling, Ostert, Higbee, Onwo, Laporta, Jordan Love, Gerald Everett, Marvin Mims, Stafford, Murray, Pickett. A lot of quarterbacks going in a row right here, as you see. Donta Foreman, Cole Kmet, Jerome Ford, John Mechie, Rashawn Johnson, Isaiah Hodgins. Like that pick. I talked about that in the last video. It's a wide receiver 1 for the Giants, so you might as well draft him this late. Jonathan Mingo, Kenneth Gainwell, and then we take Devin Singletary as kind of a backup slash split carry role with Damian Pierce. I don't think he's going to split carries by any means, but you never know. You never know what might happen on this Houston Texans offense. Also, I'm not huge on the Texans offense, by the way. It just happened that Singletary fell to me right here. Then I'll take a shot on Zeke. I mean, I don't even know if he's going to get signed anywhere, but it's that late in the draft where I might as well take a shot on him. Hold on, before we go on, looking back on it, I don't really know if I'd take Zeke in this situation. I mean, some of these other players obviously are on teams already, so they have more potential upside. But let's just say Zeke signs with a bad team and then gets all the carries on the team as the running back number one. Do I think this would happen? No. Could it possibly happen? Maybe. So Donovan Peoples-Jones, Juwan Johnson, Rashid Shaheed, Jaden Reed, Patterson, Young, Spears, White, Fournette, Purdy, Samuel, Dawson Knox, Jake Ferguson, Paris Campbell, Ryan Tannehill, Conklin, Hurst, Ty Chandler, Gus Edwards, Khalil Shakir, Richie James, Hunter Renfrow. I like that pick, one before me. I probably would have taken Hunter Renfrow if he had fallen to me, but I'm going to take Mike Gesicki as my second tight end right behind Evan Ingram. So we got Evan Ingram, we got Mike Gesicki, and then I took Jalen Hyatt. I think it was very late in this draft to take Jalen Hyatt, but if he's still there, I'll take a shot on him because Hodgins is a good player as the number one wide receiver for the Giants, and he showed signs that he could be a potential star, but it's not locked down. It's definitely not locked down. So Jalen Hyatt could easily come in and take that number one spot if he plays well enough. Jeff Wilson, Stroud, Hardman, Devontae Parker goes, Justin Ross, Darius Slayton, Chuba Hubbard, Tyquan Thornton, Robert Woods, Chase Brown, Edwards-Helaire, Hunter Henry, Isaiah Likely, Chase Claypool, Noah Fant, Terrence Marshall, Desmond Ritter, Michael Mayer, Logan Thomas, Melvin Gordon, Daniel Bellinger, Trey McBride, and then last but not least, we took Sam Howell. We did have Jahan Dotson earlier on, what I was talking about, so I mean, maybe if Sam Howell goes out and puts up 30 points, he can score more than Josh Allen, and I can get Sam Howell's points because it's a best ball league. But last but not least, let's just go over the team here that we selected. So our wide receivers for this team are Justin Jefferson, Calvin Ridley, Jahan Dotson, and George Pickens. Like I said, I am banking on the year two breakout for both of these guys. Nico Collins as the wide receiver one in Houston, wide receiver one in New England, and Juju. Alec Pierce on the off chance that Anthony Richardson just absolutely balls out. And I think he's got more potential than Michael Pittman Jr. does personally. And Jalen Hyatt. I mean, some of you guys are going to argue with me on that Michael Pittman point, but you know, I might have a vendetta against Michael Pittman. And Jalen Hyatt last for the wide receivers. As for our running backs go, we got Najee Harris, Aaron Jones, Antonio Gibson, Tyler Algier, Devin Singletary, and Ezekiel Elliott. I try not to draft more than 6 running backs in this best ball league. You can only play 2 running backs. You can only take 2 of their points count for you. So I'm not going to draft like 10 running backs. And then our quarterbacks for this league, Josh Allen, Sam Howell, and our tight ends are going to be Evan Ingram and Mike Gesicki. So let me know what you guys think I did right and what I did wrong in this draft. I'd love any information to help me with future drafts. And also, you know, if you think I did a solid job with the pick number 1 in this best ball fantasy football league $10 buy-in draft, then you know, drop a thumbs up on this video and subscribe to this channel if you are new. I'm going to be bringing you guys a ton of fantasy content throughout this upcoming season, so I will catch you in the next video. Peace.